Tonight, we examine a Supreme Court decision that's left millions of Americans stunned and has sent shockwaves through the nation's ongoing debate over gun rights. For decades, the Supreme Court has played a pivotal role in shaping the legal landscape around the Second Amendment. But this time, their silence is deafening. Many expected the justices to weigh in on a case that could have set a new precedent, but instead, they chose not to act, leaving countless questions unanswered. The result? The nation's gun laws are now in turmoil, with uncertainty rippling through communities, gun shops, and law enforcement agencies. Gun owners are left wondering what this means for their rights, while advocates on both sides of the issue scramble to interpret the court's silence. The court's refusal to intervene in a pivotal New York case has emboldened states to enforce some of the strictest gun control measures in the country. In New York, lawmakers and officials are moving quickly to implement new regulations, while other states watch closely, considering similar actions. This move has immediate consequences for gun owners, law enforcement, and everyday citizens, raising urgent questions about safety and freedom. Families worry about how these changes will affect their communities, and police departments are left to navigate a patchwork of new rules and responsibilities. The decision impacts 21 states with permit requirements, creating uncertainty and fueling heated debate over constitutional rights. Across the country, protests have erupted, with passionate voices on both sides demanding clarity and action. Town halls are packed and social media is ablaze with arguments about what the future holds for the Second Amendment. As of December 27, 2025, the fallout is just beginning, setting the stage for new legal and political battles. Lawmakers are preparing for intense debates, and legal experts predict a wave of lawsuits that could eventually force the Supreme Court to revisit the issue. The court's silence has left a vacuum filled with anger, confusion, and fear. Many Americans feel abandoned by the very institution meant to interpret the Constitution, while others see this as an opportunity to push for sweeping changes. Over the next few minutes, we'll break down what happened, why it matters, and what it means for the future of gun rights in America. We'll hear from legal experts, community leaders, and those directly affected, as we try to make sense of this unprecedented moment in the nation's history. To truly understand today's heated debate over gun rights and regulations, we have to travel back in time to the early 20th century, when New York was at the forefront of America's efforts to control firearms. In 1911, the state passed the landmark Sullivan Act, a law that would shape gun policy for generations to come. The Sullivan Act set a remarkably high bar for anyone hoping to carry a concealed handgun in public. It required not just a permit, but proof of proper cause, a special, individualized need for self-protection that went beyond ordinary concerns. For more than 100 years, this system meant that most New Yorkers could not legally carry a handgun outside their homes unless they convinced authorities they faced unique dangers. Critics argued that this approach effectively turned a constitutional right into a privilege granted only to a select few, often leaving ordinary citizens defenseless. Supporters of the law, however, believed it was essential for public safety, especially in a city as densely populated and diverse as New York. They pointed to rising crime rates and the threat of gang violence as reasons to keep strict controls in place. This long-standing debate finally reached the nation's highest court in 2022, when the Supreme Court agreed to hear the case of New York State Rifle and Pistol Association versus Bruen. The case challenged the constitutionality of New York's proper cause requirement, arguing that it violated the Second Amendment. In a landmark decision, the Supreme Court struck down New York's special need requirement, declaring it unconstitutional. The justices affirmed that the right to carry a handgun for self-defense extends beyond the home, and that states cannot impose arbitrary barriers on this fundamental right. The Bruen decision didn't just affect New York, it sent shockwaves across the country, upending similar laws in other states like California, New Jersey, and Maryland. The court set a new standard. From now on, gun regulations must be consistent with the nation's historical tradition of firearm regulation, not just modern policy preferences. Gun owners and Second Amendment advocates celebrated the ruling, seeing it as the dawn of a new era of expanded rights and personal freedom. Many believed the decision would finally restore what they saw as a long-denied constitutional guarantee. But New York's lawmakers were quick to respond. Determined to maintain strict oversight of firearms, they passed new legislation designed to comply with the Supreme Court's ruling, while still keeping tight controls in place. The state's leaders made it clear they would not back down easily. This set the stage for yet another legal showdown, as gun rights groups and state officials prepared for a new round of court battles over the future of gun control in New York and beyond. The battle over gun rights in New York is far from over. As both sides dig in, the outcome will shape not just the state, or are we done? But the entire nation's approach to the Second Amendment for years to come. After Bruin, New York lawmakers acted fast, passing the Concealed Carry Improvement Act, or CCIA. The law replaced the special need rule with new requirements, including proving good moral character, extensive training, and even social media checks. It also created a sweeping list of sensitive places where guns are banned, covering parks, transit, and most public venues. For gun owners, even with a permit, most of the state became a gun-free zone. Legal challenges erupted, with critics calling the law a direct defiance of the Supreme Court. The fight moved through the courts, setting up another Supreme Court confrontation. The stakes for gun rights had never been higher. In April 2025, the Supreme Court shocked the nation by refusing to hear the challenge to New York's CCIA. This left a lower court's ruling in place, upholding most of the law's strictest provisions. Gun rights advocates called it a devastating setback, while New York officials celebrated a major victory for public safety. The Second Circuit struck down only two parts: mandatory social media disclosure and the blanket ban on guns on private property. But the core restrictions, good moral character, and the vast list of sensitive places remained. The decision set a powerful precedent, signaling that states could impose tough new limits on concealed carry. For now, New York's model stands as the law of the land. The national debate over gun rights has only intensified. With the Supreme Court's inaction, New York's strict rules are fully in effect. Applicants must prove good moral character, and most public spaces, including transit, parks, and bars, are off-limits for concealed carry. The court did strike down the social media check and reverse the default ban on private property, but the landscape remains confusing. Licensed gun owners face a minefield of restrictions, risking felonies for simple mistakes. Gun rights groups are now focused on educating members and preparing new legal challenges. The patchwork of rules makes daily life for gun owners unpredictable and risky. The fight for clarity and consistency continues. America is now split between states with permitless carry and those with strict regulations like New York. 29 states allow concealed carry with few or no requirements, while 21 enforce tough permitting and sensitive place bans. The Supreme Court's decision has given blue states a roadmap for robust gun control. This divide has reignited the push for national concealed carry reciprocity, with a bill in Congress aiming to require states to honor each other's permits. Supporters say it's about protecting constitutional rights across state lines. Opponents warn it would undermine local safety laws. The bill faces steep odds in the Senate, so the legal patchwork and confusion will persist. The gap between states is only growing wider. The future of gun rights in America is more uncertain than ever. The Supreme Court's decision is rippling through the economy and society. Gun shops and manufacturers in restrictive states face shrinking markets and possible job losses. Socially, the ruling deepens America's cultural divide. In some states, guns are seen as threats. In others, as tools of self-reliance. The legal patchwork creates confusion for travelers and risks for law-abiding citizens who cross state lines. A simple mistake, like carrying a gun into a New York park, can turn a visitor into a felon. The justice system is now burdened with cases born from conflicting state laws, not criminal intent. The consequences of this decision reach far beyond the courtroom. Law enforcement leaders are divided on these changes. Many police groups oppose national reciprocity, citing officer safety and the chaos of inconsistent laws. Officers worry about verifying out-of-state permits and facing armed individuals with no training. Public health experts warn that more permissive carry laws correlate with higher rates of gun violence. They argue that New York's strict system is a crucial safeguard, while critics see it as government overreach. The debate over guns and public safety is more contentious and consequential than ever. America stands at a constitutional crossroads, a moment in history where the meaning of our rights and the reach of our laws are being tested like never before. The nation finds itself grappling with questions that cut to the very core of its identity. Questions about freedom, safety, and the responsibilities that come with both. The Supreme Court's recent silence on gun rights hasn't ended the debate, it's simply shifted the battleground. Now, state legislatures and lower courts are left to interpret, enforce, and sometimes challenge the boundaries of the Second Amendment. Each state, each courtroom, becomes a new arena for this ongoing struggle. In states with strict gun laws, lawmakers are pushing the boundaries of what's possible, enacting new regulations in hopes of curbing violence. Meanwhile, gun rights advocates are preparing fresh lawsuits, determined to challenge these laws and push for a single national standard that would apply to all Americans, regardless of where they live. The result is a fractured legal landscape. What is considered a protected right in one state may be a serious crime in another. This patchwork of laws creates confusion and uncertainty, not just for citizens, but for those tasked with enforcing the law. Law enforcement officers and everyday Americans alike are left navigating a maze of conflicting rules. For some, this means uncertainty about what's legal as they travel or move between states. For others, it means facing difficult choices in moments of crisis, unsure of how the law will be interpreted. The dream of a national consensus on guns, one clear set of rules that everyone can understand, seems more distant than ever. Headlines reflect a nation divided, and every tragedy or court decision only deepens the debate. Across the country, the conversation has shifted. It's no longer just about laws and court decisions, but about how we balance individual rights with the need for public safety. Communities are coming together, sometimes in heated debate, to find common ground, or at least to better understand each other's fears and hopes. The Supreme Court's silence has made the debate louder, more urgent, and more personal. With every passing day, the stakes grow higher, and the pressure mounts for a resolution that can bring clarity and peace of mind to millions. The future of the Second Amendment is being written right now, not just in the highest courts, but in state legislatures, in local courtrooms, and in the hearts and minds of the American people. Every vote, every legal challenge, every conversation shapes what comes next. Where do you stand? The next chapter in this unfolding story is up to all of us. Our choices, our voices, and our willingness to engage will determine the path forward for generations to come.